Indeed, as everyone says, the steering committee will definitely be receiving a lot of these proposals. So, gentlemen, what I'd seek to know, from every region, we have seen about 4, if I'm not wrong, 4 or 5 regions they have visited. Began with Kisii, went to Kakamega, Mombasa, Kitui. So that's 4. They have had their own issues that they want incorporated. So what I want to know from you, too, when every region is going to make their own proposal, how is this going to work? Because probably there are 4 issues that are being dealt with. Kisii will adopt 2 and reject 3. Out of the 3 rejected, they go to Kakamega. Kakamega will take 3 and reject 2, probably 1 or 2, the same that Kisii did, but different one also, plus their regional issues, same as Mombasa, they'll make land prominent, same as Kitui. At the end of the day, how are we going to deal with this, Mheshimiwa Kaluma?
I don't know, Ken. I would love that question to be directed at the task force because they're the ones who have drawn up the matrix and of how they want to operate. But I want to believe that once they have collected all the views, both oral and written, they will then go for a retreat. And I'm sure they have draftsmen and ladies who will go and sit and who are already working behind the scenes in order to produce a document. So that we will be watching very closely to ensure that our views are captured. And there are some views that cannot be left out, especially views that will touch on the farmers. Those ones cannot be left out. They cannot be ignored.
But that's the attitude, Mheshimiwa, that the Deputy President is warning against. Cannot.
I'm saying that cannot because that touches on the heart of Kenya. The majority of Kenyans are farmers. The majority of Kenyans are people who are working day and night to earn a living. The majority are the poor. We need to have what will benefit them captured. And even those who are going for positions, like Honorable Musalia has mentioned in the clip you just played, that is their view. My view is that we don't need to add anything, but we need to strengthen devolution. We need more resources to go to the people. We need to ensure, and I said this yesterday, I think here on NTV, Ken, when I observed the 3 days that we were mourning President Moi while the body was lying in state in Parliament, the crowds were big on Saturday, the crowds were big on Sunday. I expected Monday to have smaller crowds because people are working.
But Monday was even more.
But Monday was massive. And even when it got to the closing period, we had to extend when we're sitting in Parliament for another 1 hour so that Wananchi can view. That tells you that we have a lot of jobless people. None of those people was given permission from work to go and view Moi's body.
No. Everyone went, including employed people.
Yes, I'm saying.
Breaks, yes.
Most of the employed people came in on Saturday afternoon and on Sunday. But the majority of the people who came in on Monday to show their love for the former president were a lot of people.
Mheshimiwa, that could not be.
No, that is a yardstick. That is a yardstick. It is a yardstick. Are you denying, Ken, that we don't have unemployment?
No, we have quite a big unemployed population. But you can't say for a fact that majority of those people were unemployed.
Go now tomorrow morning and just stand on the street and shout, and then you'll see how many people will stand around and you'll have thousands of people looking at you and saying, because they're not sitting in offices, they're not working. They're waiting, they're trying to earn a living. So we need to address the issue of unemployment. Okay. That issue has to be addressed in this BBI. What are we going to do? And really, we cannot employ every Kenyan. So we need to empower people. We need to empower the youth to do other things so that they're not always running around with certificates.
The way the BBI report recommends.
Yes, the way the BBI report recommends, but it is not captured. When we get there, what is coming out is tunataka positions. You had a governor.
No, that's what
you had a governor say in Kisii. Mimi nimemaliza second term, nafikiri nitaenda wapi? Lazima nitafute. I must get somewhere to go.
Nitaenda wapi?
Yes. It's not that once you're a governor, huwezi enda nyumbani. If you have done your 2 terms, run for any other position. And if you don't, how many Kenyans are not in parliament or governors or in senate? There are more. So people should learn. If you have served your 2 terms, you went for that job knowing it would end this year. Jipange, you exit. Or go for any other election, but don't start creating another burden for the Kenyan.
And you believe that's about going to happen with the recommendations that is made at political forums?
Watch this space.
I have heard quite a number of people also say that President Uhuru is too young to retire.
Yes,
I've heard that.
I have heard that.
And they are entitled to that.
And they are entitled to that opinion.
Correct.
Then even the governors are entitled to their opinion, asking where do they go? You don't need.
That's what I say.
Ultimately,
President Uhuru is not asking for a position to be created, and he has not spoken himself. These are just views. But this is a governor who has spoken. Mimi nimemaliza time yangu mnafikiri mimi naenda wapi? President Uhuru has not spoken about continuing.
Okay.
Yeah? That is the beauty of a national conversation. People will speak to what they believe is most important to them. It necessarily does not mean that they will come to be, what Kenya is. Remember, there are issues which will go to the Constitution. If they are going to referendum, they will be subjected to some form of vote count. So Kenyans will have to approve or disapprove. Those ones which are going to be, legislative, intervention matters will be again dealt with by Kenyans through their elected representatives in the Houses of Parliament. The policy and others are in the leadership of Kenya. So there is no worry. Let us encourage people to give their views as far as possible. Let me talk about these regional, meetings and divergences. Each region is peculiar. And each region has a unique reason as to why they don't feel they belong. This being a national conversation, it has been very encouraging that whenever meetings around BBI have been held in regions, you get those things which are at the deepest heart of the region, which they believe if dealt with, will make them feel truly Kenyan. If you go to Nyanza in particular, you remember the meeting, was more laden with political and economic marginalization because of largely opposition politics, across time. And therefore, what measures, whether affirmative otherwise, can, be brought into place to ensure that they also feel. I was just saying, you remember before, when we were in the short break, Ken, that if you look at the victims of post-election violence, 2007, 2008, for instance, the ones from Nyanza have not been entirely, compensated. No reparation at all. Remember, before elections, there was an attempt to deal with the part of Kisii, the part of Luo Nyanza, the part of Kuri, and everybody living in those regions. It's a pending issue. In the last, election, people died, again, across the region. All these issues have not been dealt with. So when you are in Nyanza, you'll hear about those issues. And it is good we talk about them because they go to our nationhood, the feeling that we are all Kenyans. When you went, Caleb, to Mombasa, the historical issues around land, and forget about those historical ones. We want the people to tell us the truth. Why do coast people at times can say, Pwani si Kenya? How beautiful and how encouraging is it when they come up and say, our main pain is around land? And by the way, as a lawyer, Ken, I can tell you there are historical issues. But go to Kilifi as we speak. Just 2 months ago, I was called by the governor in Kilifi, and I don't know whether you saw it on television, where somebody who is not even a resident of Kilifi is claiming land that would be equal to over, 3 constituencies in the Rift Valley. And this gentleman, by dint of a court order, is demolishing houses of people who are as old as 90 years. The guy is demolishing schools. And you remember, it was on a Saturday, NTV was showing it here. So if you looked at the report from Coast, they were not just talking about those ones we call historical ones, but they're saying even now, you remember Kingi reading saying the ongoing evictions must stop because if you are 80, 90 years, you have your children, you have your grandchildren, you are being evicted without an alternative place to go to. I mean, what connection did you have with Kenya? So the land issue, and Kilifi is a dire issue. You go to Kwale, it's a dire issue. Taita Taveta, a dire issue. Mombasa, of course, is an island, again, a dire issue. How beautiful is it that you give these people the forum, and beyond looking at what was initially there, they are saying, please deal with the land issue, and we will fail Kenyans. Stop what is happening to us, even over the few, property we remain with. Remember, land is already a right under the Constitution. So in terms of treating their grievances, it could be legislative. Some could be interventions with the judiciary. Why, as a judge, would you make an order for a school to be demolished without alternative for the children when education is also a right in terms of basic education? Some are just calling to national ethos and the conscience. You went to Kitui, the major thing was economic, revolution. You went to Kakamega. The main thing I captured, in fact, I was shocked as a lawyer sitting, listening to Otichilo read the memorandum. Do you know, it hit me for the first time that Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the commission we need to fight corruption, which is taking away, according to auditors' report, up to 1/3 of our national budget each financial year, is not anchored under Chapter 15. Finds itself in a mere act of Parliament being legislated pursuant to Chapter 6, which tells Parliament to create a commission. No wonder we are now going to DCI instead of working through what should be an independent commission. Didn't you hear Otichilo saying, if we are going to devolve more money to counties, which we support, we must also tighten accountability measures. Let us have Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission therein. So some will be picked. Ultimately, those which are important and require constitutional amendments will go there. Okay. Those which will, go to legislative, changes will be there. Those which just require administrative directions or policy directions. And remember, even the courts we are talking about, Caleb, are not an island. They also see those cries. I can tell you, since the coast people read that report, I've not heard of an eviction in court. Yet I'm telling you, I stayed at the governor's office throughout the weekend drafting papers to go to court to help very old people crying, saying, I was born there. My grandfather is there. Okay. Who is this guy taking all of my land? So the question you are asking is, how do we harmonize these regional things? I'm saying the steering committee, the BBI steering committee, must be attentive. Get what Kenyans are saying, whether it is a memorandum to you, whether it is in those public meetings, whether it is a private, letter on a concern. Get a way to, in terms of validation, capture them and get a way to locate them, whether for constitutional amendments, whether legislative, whether policy, and let us move. You've heard some people say, Caleb, that some of these people are in past reports. We had the Ndungu Commission report. We had that one of which deal with the TJRC report. We had all these reports are there. BBI gives us the opportunity, and remember, one of the things we are talking about in BBI is national ethos. It is giving us a platform as Kenyans to ask, why are we not implementing? If they are not captured, I mean, pick them up. If they are already captured, let us actionize them so that we can have a nation called Kenya. And so I say it is beautiful. The burden is on the steering committee to secure that every matter of concern uniquely to each region it's captured and are put on the table of Kenyans upon the validation for consideration and resolution in terms of how we move forward.
Mheshimiwa, do you see us going for a third round? Because at what point will we have the second validation? Do you see us going for a third round after these views are captured and they're collated?
Well, Ken, first of all, the term that this Haji team has is up to June, I think, is what the president said. But from his party leader...
A report must have been presented by June.
Yeah, will have been presented by June. But from his party leader, we need to end by March and go for a referendum almost immediately. Which
still falls within that period.
Suggestion.
But still falls within the period by June 30th.
Yes. By June 30th. I think the task force is got a lot of work to do. They have a lot of work to do. and it is up to them to assure us. But I want to say that the views of Kenyans have to be captured, and I've said this before, BBI must, and I repeat, we have to think about the common mwananchi. Okay. We have to think about the common mwananchi. It is not about positions. I've just seen there that somebody gave a suggestion that this matter of inclusivity can be healed or cured in the cabinet. We don't have to create a second tier, third tier of government. You saw a tweet, I think, by one of the viewers, which is a very good suggestion, so that our wage bill will remain more or less the same, and we will have sorted out the issues that we have.
But Mheshimiwa, even that is impossible because the cabinet in the constitution, maximum of 22. How will it still be incorporated? We have 47.
You're being unfair to
No, I'm just saying for the viewer, not for his
those have views.
Yes, sharing his thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah? Yes.
I'm not being unfair. I'm just asking, even that will still be unrealistic because we want to create 5 positions at the top.
Can I tell you something I would have not told you now that we are in a national platform? Have you ever seen President Uhuru Kenyatta or Deputy President William Ruto in Homabay County since they took reins in 2013? I mean, just tell me which part.
Well, not Homabay County. There are many counties they haven't been.
I'm telling you.
There are many counties they haven't been.
That is why for people like where I come from, we are saying possibly the president could be busy, the deputy could be busy. If we had a prime minister from the western region, for instance, maybe one of those top 5 or 6 people would have come. Because we are also in a nation where we are being made to believe, contrary to the constitution, that until a president or a deputy president comes to say, let this be done, nothing is happening. Okay. And that is why we are talking of inclusivity. That is not to say, even Ken, that it is the region I'm coming from that is saying we are interested in prime minister. Remember, we produced the second prime minister of the country. We could be looking at other things. What we are saying is that let there be a feeling of inclusivity.
But still, my point, Mr. Kaluma, my point is, even if we were to do that, there are still regions in this country that will still be feel left behind. So what they are proposing is, let's stop addressing or just patching this problem. Let's find a lasting solution. And I think the lasting solution is even in the constitution already. But we're just trying to patch it, to do patchwork, to cover our nakedness wherever necessary.
Let us have proposals, including what is already there. And then let us harmonize those proposals with a clear heart, spirit and heart, that we want a Kenya where everybody feels they belong.